Commission meeting to order Tuesday, September 16th in the council chambers. Call to order.
Certainly. Commissioner Mitchell?
Present.
Commissioner Frederick? Here. Commissioner Caprillion? Here. Commissioner Bernardi? Here. Commissioner Meyer?
Here.
Councilmember O'Reilly? Here. Mayor Teestrake?
Here.
We are all present tonight.
Thank you. Yay. Approval of agenda number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Kim motions to approve the agenda.
Second.
And second, any comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Like sign? That motion passes. Approval of minutes, August 5th, the 19th, 2025 meeting. John moves to approve. And Jake seconds. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Identify potential conflicts of interest. Please be advised per city policy 3.340 that any member of this body shall declare a conflict if they have any interest, financial or otherwise, direct or indirect, or engage in a business or transaction or professional activity, or incur an obligation of any nature that is in conflict with the proper discharge of the body's official duties. Any conflicts of interest this evening? Yes.
I have a potential conflict.
Oh, you want to turn your mic?
Yeah, I have a potential conflict with item 7, so I'll be sitting that one out.
Okay. Any others? Seeing none, move on to item 6, citizen comments.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to at this time invite our new city planner to the podium to introduce himself to you folks. He'll be working with you as Plan Commission members in the months ahead, and look forward to that. We've had him on board now for, this is his 4th week. So James, take it away. You got to turn your microphone on down the bottom of the little red button. There you go.
Is it working now?
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you, Steve. I'm James. I'm starting as the new city planner here in Marshfield. I've had a variety of experiences up until this point, mostly in the private sector. So I actually got my Bachelor in Architecture degree from Iowa State in 2018. I worked for the Kohler Company in-house for their architecture and interior design team after that. I lived and studied in Colorado and got my master's in urban design from the University of Colorado, Denver, and worked for a number of A&E firms and kind of slowly made my way toward municipal work. Most recently, I was working at a firm called Rinka in the city of Milwaukee, serving communities all over just like this one, studying strategic planning, doing master plans, etc. So I'm thrilled to be finally working in local government and to be learning and working with each of you.
James is off to a very good start with our staff and getting to know everybody. And again, I think we look forward to having him with us in the weeks ahead. He'll do a great job. So thank you. I might mention at the same time too, as we go through this transition, Bryce will still be with us as we go through the transition to make sure that James gets off to a good start, gets a good footing on his duties, and then he'll ultimately be the main person here with the commission. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Seeing none, move on to item 7. Conditional use permit request by Brad Larson, Nikolai Construction, representing Quality Tank Solutions to allow a large development for a new industrial building located on the southeast corner of Galvin Avenue and 24th Street intersection, parcel 33-07131B. This request may include exceptions for pavement setbacks and hard surfacing requirements. Presenter, Bryce Hembrook, planner.
Thank you, Mayor. So the subject property is located in the Norwood Industrial Park. It is to the southeast of the intersection of East 24th Street and South Galvin Avenue. The applicant is proposing to construct a just under 54,000 square foot building intended to be used for manufacturing and storing any materials. So this will be located to the south of the rest of the Quality Tank Solution. I call it the campus. So to the north of 24th is all Quality Tank Solutions. They're looking to expand their operations in close proximity. Thus, this site is a good opportunity for the business to continue to provide, good quality jobs near their home base. So anytime that a building is proposed to be over 50,000 square feet, it's considered a large development, which requires a conditional use permit and review by Plan Commission and approval by the Common Council. So that's why we are here. And I will show the site plan here. So the proposed building is located on the east side of the property, and they do show a future addition potentially to the west. Now, this approval is simply for the proposed building on the east side, but we thought it was important to kind of show what that could look like in the future or near future. And they would expect that if they were to do an addition, it would probably be roughly the same size as what they're proposing now. So they also are requesting some exceptions to the typical hard surfacing requirements. At first, they submitted a site plan showing mostly gravel, and one of the main reasons for proposing gravel, especially on the west of the building, is because they do plan on expanding, and so to avoid installing adding all this asphalt or concrete and then ripping out in a couple years, they would like to have it as gravel. And so what we did was city staff, I discussed this with Josh Moritz, the acting, can't think right now, of
Public Works Director.
title.
Public
Perfect.
Works Director.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep, no problem.
It's been a long day.
Yep.
So I talked with Josh Moritz, and we kind of addressed, we talked about some of our concerns about, where there should be concrete or asphalt and where there should be gravel, and talked with the applicant, and he addressed those concerns with the updated site plan. So what you see on the proposed site plan is kind of addressing those concerns. So there would be asphalt shown on the entire east side, and there would be a parking area on the southeast side of the property. The site plan also does show some turning radius diagrams, and one of the reasons for the exception for pavement setbacks, as well as for the pavement setback, is so that they can adequately allow trucks to turn into the building. So that's one of the main reasons. And we also didn't want gravel to spill onto the property to the east or to the south. And then also you'll see that both of the access points are along 24th Street. There's no access proposed along Galvin. And both of those would be basically asphalt from the property line to the south, and then a concrete approach to 24th. The other thing that Josh Moritz and I had discussed was some sort of buffer in between the retention pond and any sort of gravel. Typically in our code, we require a 50-foot buffer. But after discussing it with Josh, we had discussed that maybe that's not necessary. However, we haven't seen a stormwater management plan yet, and we can't really determine what an adequate buffer would be without really seeing where exactly the pond will be or what type of stormwater facility it's going to be. So you'll see in the condition later on how we kind of added kind of a vague condition just to allow the city engineer to approve an adequate buffer in between the two. So the reason for that, as well as the distance to the street, is to avoid the amount of gravel that gets tracked onto the street or into the stormwater pond that can get pretty costly with maintenance, as well as sometimes it can be dangerous with too much gravel on the roads with rocks kind of hitting tires and shooting off. So some of the reasons as to why we have those requirements. But as I mentioned, the applicant has already addressed all of those concerns with the updated site plan. And as of, as far as we can tell, with the exception of the retention pond, staff is supportive of the changes that were proposed. So landscaping was not required. Parking, they're showing roughly 24 stalls with 2 handicap stalls. And then I think that there was maybe a couple added to the north that I didn't notice. So they're above the required parking, and they also do have parking across the street as well. So parking does not appear to be a concern. Then, as I mentioned, a stormwater management plan will need to be submitted and reviewed by the engineering department. Typically, we've required those kind of separate from this review. However, I just wanted to note that the stormwater pond may be moving or may look different when it's actually constructed. So our engineering department will review that prior to any final approval. And then In terms of the comprehensive plan, one of the things that the comprehensive plan talks about is, supporting and strengthening local jobs, helping businesses expand. And this is a company that's expanded multiple times since I started in 2017. Very quick additions, and so this is another way to help allow them to grow and provide high quality jobs. In terms of the surrounding area, it is in an industrial park. It is expected to allow for industrial activities, and there already is adequate street access and utilities. So in terms of reviewing this, we believe that the potential public benefits outweigh any potential adverse impacts, and that it is in line with the comprehensive plan. And then we also do have a rendering showing what the building will look like. It will look pretty similar to the buildings across the street for Quality Tank Solutions. And then, as I mentioned, there could be an expansion to the west. With all that in mind, staff recommend approval of the request with the following conditions. Number one, minor site plan changes may be approved administratively, provided that they do not need any additional exceptions from the zoning code or from any conditions approved in this conditional use permit. Number two, shall provide a 30-foot hard surface drive access that begins at the property line and continues at least south 30 feet for the west access drive as shown on the site plan. Number three, the east drive access, parking area and traffic circulation areas shall be hard surface, asphalt or concrete, and allow a pavement setback exception to allow the pavement to be located up to the property line as shown on the site plan. Number four, applicant shall provide a buffer between traffic circulation areas and the stormwater pond. The city engineer shall determine necessary buffer distance upon final review of the stormwater management plan. And that is all that I have for that item.
Thank you. Public hearing is now open. Any comments or questions in the public hearing? Any comments or questions in the public hearing? Any comments or questions in public hearing? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any questions from the Plan Commission?
I just have one question.
Yes.
On the far east side of the building, where in the last, that diagram, where there's two semis there, how many feet is that parking lot from the edge of the parking lot to the building? I was just wondering if there was a number to that. I think it says W8 maybe.
Are you saying from the south parking area or the northeast?
The east side. So where the two semis are, how wide is that area there? I can't quite read that.
Well, between the building and the property line to the east, it would be 90 feet.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. I just wanted to know.
John?
More of just a comment. I was reading these hard surfacing exceptions, and it really does align pretty well with the types of approaches we've made with similar requests in the past. So that tracks with our historical precedent for me. So I'm good with it.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, who would like to make a motion to accept?
I'll make that, or I'll
Jim
second
motions
it.
and John seconds. Any other questions, comments before we vote? And Steve, would you take a live vote, please?
Certainly. Mayor Teestrake,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly. That's right. Commissioner Caprillion,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Frederick,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah.
Motion is approved. Thank you.
That motion is approved. Thank you. Item 8, Municipal Code Amendment Request by the City of Marshfield to consider text amendments to Chapter 18, General Zoning Ordinance to modify Section 18-82, nonconforming and substandard lots, and Section 18-83, nonconforming structures. The proposed amendment is intended to clarify that any legally existing structure or lot rendered nonconforming due to city-required actions such as land or right-of-way dedication, replatting, or lot line adjustments shall continue to be considered legally conforming. This change ensures that such structures and lots are not classified as nonconforming solely due to the municipal actions that alter lot dimensions, lot sizes, or setbacks. Presenter, Bryce Hamburg, planner. Wow, that was good. Thank you,
Thank you,
Bryce.
Mayor.
Good job.
Yeah, sorry for making you
No,
read
it's
that.
all good. It's all good.
So, similar to what we had discussed at the last month's Plan Commission, there is some concern with the major street setback and how that could, potentially impact some properties and make some, create some nonconformities. And one of the things I had mentioned is that years ago, staff looked into potentially making some changes to the nonconforming section already to kind of address this issue, but not just for major streets, but also in general. When the city needs to acquire additional land for right-of-way expansion, we often will require that through a certified survey map or through a plat. And so what could happen is if we require the dedication of land through that process, a structure could technically become non-conforming. For example, if their house is at 25 feet, the minimum setback is at 25 feet, but we need to acquire 5 feet of land to become right-of-way to meet our the recommendation, the requirements in the subdivision code. When we take that 5 feet, we would then be making that structure non-conforming. So one way to address that is to add some language to our non-conforming and substandard lots, as well as non-conforming structures section, to basically say that any legal conforming lot of record made non-conforming or substandard as a result of a dedication due to lot line adjustment, replat, or other legal action that results in a transfer of private property to a government entity for public right-of-way shall be granted legal conforming status. So basically what this means is that if the city or any other, the state or even county, if they were to require dedication of land, they would still be considered a legal conforming lot or structure. So like I said, this doesn't just impact, any changes that could happen for the major street. This could be any properties that are affected. And this would not apply to, for example, if the Plan Commission and Common Council change the zoning district requirements and change the setbacks. That could create nonconformities that would have to, fall under this section. This would just be when we are requiring dedication of land and really to the detriment of the property owner. So if there's any questions, I can certainly try to help answer, but there's really only, I think, 3 minor changes to the language.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Any comments or questions in public hearing? Any comments or questions in public hearing? Any comments, questions in public hearing? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. I know. Are there any questions from the Plan Commission? Seeing none, who would like to approve with a motion?
I motion to approve.
Jocelyn motions
I'll second it.
and Rita seconds. Any other questions, comments from the Plan Commission? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Certainly. Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Frederick,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Caprillion,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly,
Yes.
Mayor T-Strake.
Yes,
That motion is approved, and this will go to council for first reading a week from tonight.
thank you. Item 9, municipal code amendment request by the city of Marshfield to consider text amendments to chapter 18, general zoning ordinance to modify regulations related to major street setbacks. These changes include, but are not limited to, changing the definition of major streets, establishing new major streets and new major street setback requirements, and creating a new section in the zoning code for major street regulations. Presenter, Bryce Hamburg, planner.
All right, thank you. So we've been chatting about this for the last couple of months, so I don't plan on going too in depth right now, but I can certainly help answer any questions. Overall, we would be redefining what streets are considered major streets within the city. We would identify, so what we did was we identified some streets that may require future right-of-way expansion. That way, we weren't just applying an arbitrary 50-foot setback just because it was located on a road that was technically considered a major street. This approach is more focused on only requiring it where we think it might be necessary. Originally, the requirement was 50 feet. Now we're recommending that it should be the underlying zoning district setback requirement plus 10 feet. So a lot of times that would push it to about 30 to 40 feet of a setback, depending on the specific zoning district. And then we also added some language that kind of clarified, why this is required. Because before it was just kind of mentioned that it's required without really any purpose or intent behind it. It would still not be required, or a major street would not apply in the urban mixed use district or the downtown mixed use district. A lot of those properties are built up to the property line or within 10 feet. So it would just not fit in with the surrounding area to require that. And then you would still be able to get a setback adjustment if the neighboring properties. So typically up to the 5 adjacent properties, you can take the average of those setbacks and find the new setback requirement. So that is still going to remain. And then I believe that we also did include that the zoning administrator may determine that a property is exempt from the major street setback requirement if the zoning administrator determines that there is adequate public right-of-way width that meets the requirements in our subdivision code. And then also with the last item that you guys just recommended approval to the Common Council, that should help address any additional concerns about, creating nonconformities. Those should be addressed as well now with that new potential change. So with that, that's all that I really have. Like I said, I can try to help answer any questions. We already did have a public hearing. As I recall, I don't believe that there were any comments. So the recommendation, if the Plan Commission would like to proceed, would be to recommend that staff creates a text amendment for the create a proposed ordinance for Common Council consideration.
Would someone like to make a motion to that effect?
I will make a motion.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
I'll second that.
Second by Alderman O'Reilly. Any questions or comments for Bryce? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Discussion regarding considering allowing more residential use types in the SR6 zoning district and near the downtown area. Presenter, Bryce Hembrook, planner.
All right, thank you. So this is another item that we've been discussing for a while now. So I don't plan on going through it all like I have the last couple months. At the last Plan Commission meeting, it sounded like the Plan Commission wanted me to bring back about 2 or 3 options to consider. And one of those options, I'll get the easiest one out of the way. The one option is to keep everything the same as it is, which would be allowing only single family and 2 flat in the SR6 district. So that is one option. The second option seemed to be what the Plan Commission was generally more supportive of, which would be to allow duplexes, twin homes, and townhouses up to 4 units in the SR6 by right, and keep the zoning district boundaries the same as they currently are. One of the things I had proposed was that we could look at, rezoning some current SR6 properties into SR4, but it seems like the Plan Commission would like to keep, the SR6 district as it, currently is. And then on top of that, consider allowing apartments and multiplexes in the SR6 district as well. One thing that hasn't necessarily been discussed too much in detail is whether those would be permitted or conditional use, and that's something that could be discussed, further moving on. But basically, this would allow for potentially up to 4 units in the SR6 district. And I will quickly show, I've been having trouble with GIS, so it's been hard to get a great map. But you can kind of see here that the beige color is roughly where the SR6 district is. So you'll know, towards the downtown area and parts of the older portions of the city near Peach Avenue, basically from Depot Street up to Harrison, and then even up near Hampton Inn. So it is a pretty large district. So that is one option that Plan Commission seemed to be pretty supportive of. And the other thing I'd recommend is, and it seemed like Plan Commission was supportive of, is to change the name to small scale residential. I think I made the note in the wrong spot, so I will, so small scale residential would be probably a better fit for the name. So this could be what it looks like. So twin house would be allowed, duplex, townhouse 3 to 4 units, apartment 3 to 4, multiplex 3 to 4. Like I said, permitted by right or conditional for some of those uses we could discuss further once there's a little bit more direction. Another thing is to consider allowing accessory dwelling unit. I also refer to that as ADU a lot. So this is one that the Plan Commission also wanted more information on, and I talked with Steve Barg about this, and we think that we'll probably discuss ADUs more comprehensively in the future at a future Plan Commission meeting, because we think that there could be some other changes and other zoning districts where it could be appropriate. But at least for this discussion, I think it's good to mention that we would at least consider allowing it accessory use permitted by right. And then in the future, there may be some bigger scale, changes to that part of the code. The other thing that we would have to figure out is exactly how the density and setback requirements, lot area requirements would come into effect. We could do a flat base, requirement for the density, or we could have more specific. And I don't plan on going into too much detail until we kind of know which direction we may want to go. But those are all things to consider. The other option that we had kind of discussed, and I believe that the Plan Commission wanted me to at least bring back, is the idea to allow duplex, twin houses, and potentially townhomes up to 4 units in the SR6 district by rights, similar to what we just discussed, and keep the SR6 district boundaries. The difference is that we wouldn't allow the multiplexes and apartments, potentially townhomes up to 4 units. In this district, however, we would look at creating a new zoning district specifically for small scale residential. This would be intended to allow for missing middle housing in appropriate locations. With this approach, the comprehensive plan would likely need to be updated to kind of talk about, where these might be appropriate. And one of the reasons for this suggestion is that it could allow for looking at properties and proposed developments on a case-by-case basis. It would allow for an applicant to have to come before the Plan Commission with the rezoning, and we can kind of take a look at the site-specific request rather than just allowing anywhere in the SR6 district. As I mentioned, it's a rather large district in the city. So that would allow for the Plan Commission to kind of be able to really focus on whether or not it fits in with the neighborhood or not. And so the SR6 district would look pretty similar to what I just showed you, except for, just have the twin house, duplex, and then as I mentioned, could add townhouse units, could remove that. And then the difference would be that we'd create a new district. So the intent would be, and this is all just a draft just to kind of give you guys something to talk about. We can always tweak it if this is the direction that you guys would like to go. There's no decision being made tonight, just used for discussion. So the intent would be something along the lines of intended to accommodate a mix of low density, multi-unit housing types, which could include triplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, in a manner that maintains the character of surrounding neighborhoods. This district supports housing diversity, affordability, and compact development patterns near existing infrastructure and services. And this is where we could add, up to 4 units, townhouses, apartments, multiplexes. We could also look at adding conditional uses for more than 4 units if the Plan Commission would like to do that. Another option is we could add basically any residential. So you could also include single family, duplex, twin homes, pretty much the same thing. I think for this, I just wanted to show at least the ones that we left out. Once again, we would include accessory dwelling unit in this district. And then here are just some preliminary requirements that I had included. Once again, these could be tweaked as necessary. And then one other thing I added, and we could certainly look to add this in the SR6 district too in some capacity, but we could look at adding design standards, you know, have some requirements. And these are very high level. We would probably try to be more specific, but just to kind of give you an idea, we could look at, you know, how many entrances are there, the roof design, location of parking. You'd want to promote the off-street parking to be on the side or behind the building. You could require coming for a plan commission review just to ensure that, you know, the site plan, that the proposed development fits with the surrounding neighborhood. So those are all things that you could consider adding if you'd like. And then just while I have this up, here's some examples of an ADU, accessory dwelling unit. So these could be standalone, detached, ADU over garage, attached ADU, basement ADU. Those are kind of the most common ones. So that's what could potentially go into these zoning districts. So those are the two main scenarios. And then just I guess to quickly go in the detail, currently developers could look to rezone the neighborhood mixed use for multifamily projects. So if someone wanted to tomorrow come in and you know, change a property to allow for 3 to 4 units, they could look at rezoning to neighborhood mixed use and to get a conditional use for apartments. That is an option right now. It's not one that I think we've explored since I started in 2017. It does open up to the possibility of allowing commercial uses. So it's not probably the ideal district, but I did want to just mention that technically is an option, although it hasn't really been explored yet. So what I'm looking from the Plan Commission tonight is to probably, you know, hammer down one option. You know, if you would like to make no changes, or the two that I mentioned, you know, the SR6, keep the district, allow basically the all the way through multiplex, or to consider creating a standalone district for small scale. And then from there, you know, if you'd want me to prepare, or you want staff to prepare a potential changes before having a public hearing, or if you guys would be ready for a public hearing. Basically, I just would like if there's any sort of direction from the Plan Commission on how we should approach any potential changes. As always, if there's any questions, I can certainly help answer. I do also have in my PowerPoint the kind of the slide showing the different types of land use types. So if you need me to go over those again, just let me know.
Okay, thank you, Brace. Any comments? Take a minute to
Comment?
look, and then if anyone would like to make a comment.
Yeah, I personally like the third option, which allows for the duplexes, the twin homes, townhouses up to 4 units. I would like to see that exist by right, because I would like to see it be as easy as possible for people without having to add extra sort of bureaucracy before they could make a plan, which adds time and money to the overall cost of building. I also like the idea of creating design standards so that it would be easier for people that would want to build, that they know ahead of time what would be acceptable. And I think that would just make it faster and easier for them to become a conforming thing. And I would assume most of the issues that would be coming before the commission would be those design issues of how that fits into the already existing neighborhood. But if we've already laid out what would be acceptable, I think that would eliminate a lot of reasons why people would have to come before the commission. So yeah, I like the third option with design parameters. Thank you.
Bryce, if we were to go with the third option and create a new zoning district specifically for the small scale residential, do you have thoughts or designs on where that zone ought to be implemented?
Yeah, and so that's kind of another part of the conversation that we would probably have to have is, would we look to proactively rezone certain areas? For example, would that be close to the downtown area, maybe north of Veterans Parkway, but still, along like around Columbia Park? Try to get to that map. That is one option. I think the option or the thought process that I was kind of thinking of is that it would be kind of a new district that, someone would have, basically there would have to be the first applicant to propose to rezone to that. I think it was more of a create the district, and then if it would be an option for developers if they wanted to go through that, rather than proactively just allowing them, throughout the city. So that would be another thing that the Plan Commission would need to determine. Whenever you proactively rezone properties, it adds a lot of staff time in terms of, if you send out mailings to all the properties, a lot of time kind of explaining the changes, the public hearings, it can be pretty time intensive.
Okay.
So I think the thought process was just to have it as an option. It doesn't take very long to create the language. It took me probably 20 minutes to get all the language put together. So it's not, that part of it would not be time intensive. The issue is that you would probably have to update the comprehensive plan to be more specific on where these could be appropriate. However, the comprehensive plan is supposed to be updated by 2027 anyway. So I think the city should be, looking into updates shortly anyway. So I think that this would be a pretty good time to consider that if that's the option that you guys want to go.
Thanks for that explanation. So to me, if we have a district sort of formatted and ready to go upon request, it doesn't sound too dissimilar from a conditional use permit request for putting in a multiplex.
Yeah, so
in terms
the
of
main
just like how it would work.
Yeah, the main difference with that is that since 2017, I think it was 2017, state statutes have changed, which makes it more difficult for municipalities to deny a conditional use. So that would, and that's where I think that would be helpful to rezone to a new district where the Plan Commission is able to make that decision based on, they look at the comprehensive plan, the future land use map, they look at the neighborhood, does it fit in? They get to make more of a decision, whereas the conditional use permit, if they meet the conditions and any regulations in the code, technically the language is that the municipality shall approve it. So it just makes it difficult where if there is a proposed CUP and it just really does not fit in with the surrounding area, the city is obligated to approve. Now they can always deny, but then that opens up potential legal issues. So that's kind of the thought process behind that.
Okay, that computes. So we maintain or retain a little more control if we keep it as more of a zoning decision. That's how I interpret that.
And basically, and looking back at, for example, if we look back to the second option, let's say that you guys decide, well, Common Council ultimately decides that apartment and multiplex could be allowed here as a conditional use. You guys would still review it. You still have the opportunity to deny. There is also the opportunity where we could look at the conditions within the, just to try to make it make sense a little bit. For example, when I review a proposed apartment, they have to meet these additional regulations. So if the Plan Commission wanted to address certain things, we could also add certain conditions in the regulations where, in the SR6 district, an apartment must only have, one entrance upon the street or whatever the requirement would be, you could look at adding more conditions to try to address any potential issues. That way, if you guys approve it, you're still addressing the main concerns that you would typically have, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And here you'll see, for example, it talks about as part of a conditional use requirement for group developments, any development comprised of one or more apartment buildings which contain 5 or more dwelling units shall provide additional site design features such as underground parking, architectural elements, landscaping, and/or on-site recreational facilities. Now, obviously, this wouldn't apply up to 4 units, but you could do something similar of, enhanced architectural elements, which could be through the design guidelines. You could do some sort of landscaping if you want, or on-site rec facilities, or whatever it is, you could look at adding something similar.
Go ahead, Kim.
My one concern would be in a district there that people hear that there could possibly be like maybe a 4-unit housing being proposed or something, that may get some citizens
Excited.
excited, exactly. So that'd be my one concern about that.
Maybe that would be a reason for doing the small scale residential zone, just because there'd be less areas. That would be a possibility
Right.
for that kind of building. And also with the design, I think the design standards are probably very important to include.
Okay, seeing no other questions, do we want to kind of give our view which one we like best, or do we like 3 the best of all? Or is there something in number 3 that we would like to take out? I'm not sure exactly how we want to go, and I know Bryce would like us to give some kind of a final decision. Can you bring us back to those 3 decisions, the not change, the 2, 3? Because that's what you'd like us to tell you this evening, correct? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if there's a general consensus, I guess we'll start with Jocelyn. You can go ahead and then we'll just go down the line. Is that fair for everybody?
I like 3 the best.
Okay. Go ahead.
I like 3 as well.
I like the second one.
I like,
And just so I know, who was that?
Oh, that was Kim Frederick. Jocelyn's
Okay.
like Jocelyn and Rita like the 3rd option. Kim likes the 2nd option, and then Jake Bernardi is next.
so I really like 3, but the 4-unit apartment sounds great. So it's next to your house and there's nothing you can do about it. So if I'm looking at it right, option number 2 allows for a conditional use permit, whereas option number 3 would not. Is that correct?
So
Yeah, so the option 3 would require a rezoning of that property to allow it to happen if we created that other
Which
zone.
would come back to the board.
Right, and what Bryce was explaining earlier was that if we had a conditional use situation, it's much more difficult for us to have any control over that. Whereas a zoning, in a zoning request, we have a little more authority there.
Gotcha. Thanks for.
And just for a little clarification, John did a good job. In terms of the conditional use, that was one thing that wasn't quite decided on whether or not it would be required in the SR6. So that would be something that you guys could determine. But the thought process about the small scale residential would be to allow it permitted by right because you have to go through the rezoning process first. So that was kind of the thought process behind that, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha. I will choose 3.
Yeah, I'm number 3 as well.
I'm either 2 or 3. I really don't see an issue with it either way, to be honest with you.
And I will vote 3 also, or 2, yeah, either one, but yeah, I would say 3 is probably a little stronger because of the extra that's going to be allowed for us to determine and for them to have a better understanding of what's going to happen with this property. So I guess it's number 3.
Perfect, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for your input. That helps a lot. I guess one thing that I'd like to clarify is, I kind of mentioned that townhouse 3 to 4 units could potentially be included in that third option, or we could remove it. Is there a preference to allow townhouses as a conditional use, or just keep it single family, 2 flat, twin house, and duplex?
I would prefer to make the townhouses more accessible.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
I agree.
Everybody's nodding their head yes. So yeah, if you could tuck that in there also, thank you very much. It all makes sense.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the feedback. That definitely helps, and staff will discuss and come back with more information at next meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Item 11, staff updates.
I have nothing beyond the fact that I'm excited to have James on board with us as our planner, and looking forward to working with him.
Yes, I most agree. And item 12, items for future agendas. Seeing none, who would like to adjourn the meeting? Don't all jump at once. John?
I'll second.
And Kim. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great month, and thank you.